Welcome to one of the easiest videos we are going to have for a while. Multiplying and dividing sign numbers. So, really easy. All you really got to know, and these rules apply for, I'm only going to use a multiplication sign, but they work for division as well. All you really need to know is that when we multiply two numbers, a positive times a positive is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. Same thing for a negative times a positive. And two negatives multiply to be a positive. What's great though about this as opposed to addition and subtraction is you don't really have to change, well, am I adding things? Am I putting things together? Am I subtracting the numbers? You know, kind of what am I doing and trying to figure out, well, which one wins out? You always know what the sign's going to be, and you just do your multiplication or division. These work for division too, like normal. So, like if I wrote out a bunch of examples using 3 and 2, you know, with some being positive and some being negative, all of the answers are going to have a 6 in them. There is no doubt about that. All of them are going to have a 6. The only thing that's going to change is that the two that have just one negative will be a negative answer. The two positives and the two negatives will be a positive 6. That's it. Okay, so what's really cool is that you don't have to change what you're doing. The same thing works for division. Okay, if it was 6 divided by 3, the answer would be 2. Now if I change one or both those numbers to negative, I'm still going to have a 2. I just have to figure out the sign of my answer. Now, what about exponents? Okay, what we find is there is a difference between, let's look at a simple example, negative 4 squared versus negative 4 quantity squared, meaning there's a difference between where those parentheses are. The negative symbol is actually basically treated like a separate number. It's almost treated like -1 times that number. And why that makes a difference is because in this example, the one on the left, we would square the 4 first. So we would do 4 squared and get 16 and then make it negative. Over here, since the negative's in parentheses, we would first make our 4 negative, and now we would square it. So here we would be doing -4 times -4 and getting 16. This one means -4 times 4. This one is the one that means -4 times -4. So you really do have to be very careful there, especially when you're then plugging things in. Okay, so here's some practice. Try doing these first two on your own, pause, and then come back and see what you get. So I'm assuming you've done that by now. First one should be 6. And what's tricky here is that both of these should actually be 8. It's just the semantics of the, should be -8. It's just the semantics of the way that they are worked out. So the one on the left means negative 2 times 2 times 2, which gets us -8. This one is 3 negative 2's being multiplied, but we still get -8. If there had been an even exponent, we might have had a problem. Okay, here's what I want you to do. For C over here, I want you to try to plug in 2 different numbers to each of these. Okay? So I want you to first try plugging in x equals 3. And then I want you to try plugging in x equals -3 into both of them. So we're looking at 4 answers. 2 for 3 and 2 for -3. Pause and then come back. Okay, so you have to think really carefully about what the order of operations is going to be here. Here you are squaring x first and then making it negative. So if I square 3, I get 9, and then if I make it negative, I get -9. Over here, I'm first going to make the 3 negative and then square it. Okay, so -3 times -3 is +9. Now try doing the same thing for -3. So this time, over here, again, I still have to square the -3 first. Like if I look at this one actually plugged in, it would look like this. It would be negative negative 3 squared. Remember how I talked about putting parentheses around negative numbers when we plug them in for a variable? Kind of comes important here. So negative 3 squared is positive 9, but I still got this extra negative, so I still get negative 9. Okay, and over here, this time I'm going to apply the negative to the negative 3. So like I've got, this one is really awkward looking when you plug it in. I get negative 3 squared. So I get really just 3 squared, which is 9. What's cool is that it doesn't matter whether you plug in a positive or a negative. This one's always negative, this one's always positive. But think about that. Over here, you're squaring the number first, and then you're making a negative. Over here, you are making the number negative and then squaring it. If you do the squaring second, it's got to be positive. It's pretty cool. For this one, just simply try plugging in for D, just try plugging in x equals negative 5, see what you get, pause, and then come back. So I'm assuming you've done that, and if you do that, you should get 75 over 25. Make sure it is positive 25, because again, you got to square whatever x is. So squaring negative 5 gets you a positive 25. 75 over 25 is 3. Hopefully nothing too complicated here. The only place where it really gets hard is when you're plugging in for variables, so just be careful. But I think if you kind of think about this ahead of time and what this means, again, I really encourage you to think of what would the order of operations be, excluding the fact that I know I'm plugging a number in. Then plug the number in, okay, because it'll make your life a lot easier. That's it for this one.